Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to be adding airbags to my leaf springs. I've already dropped the spare tire, which they recommend so you have more room under your chassis so you can get to everything easier. And then the next thing to do is take off the overload stops. They just have 2 bolts on top. Take those off, and then that's where the airbags will be mounted. I bought these airbags off of Amazon. They're Firestone air spring kit. It's an air spring kit. The kit was $274, and it comes with all the mounting brackets and then all the tubes and everything. So let's go under the truck and get this thing started.
So the first thing we're going to do is remove these bump stops. That is the little bracket right there. Just a piece of plastic, has 2 bolts on top of it. And there's also one on the driver's side, which is right here. Hopefully I can see that. But there is, like I said, 2 bolts. They're 15 millimeter. Take those off and they will not be used again. So you can set those to the side. As you can see, the bump stop is taken off of the driver and off the passenger side. Next thing to do is take out this 13 millimeter bolt right here that holds the drive line. That's just to get it out of your way, and then you'll be reinstalling it later. I'm now going to be assembling the passenger side airbag. This one's a little bit different than the driver's side, which I've already put the driver's side together. First thing you're going to do, put the heat shield on. Next, you want to grab your bracket. The shorter part of the bracket, as you can tell, there's a shorter and a taller. The taller faces towards the front of your truck, and the back faces towards the rear. You're going to be sitting on the bracket just like that. Get the airbag or the heat shields so that your exhaust won't burn a hole in your airbag. So having that set just like that. So you're gonna grab your 3/8 bolt, put it in the back hole this time. When you do the other side, you want to put it in the front hole, or whichever hole is on the outside of your truck. So that'd be the back. Next thing we're going to do is grab the, what are they called? Self-locking nuts, something like that. That sounds about right. And I'm using a 9/16 socket head. I'm not going to get it on there too tight just yet. You got to make sure everything's lined up real well. I'm sure it's not recommended to use a drill. You're probably supposed to use a ratchet, but we're going to use that anyway. Next thing to do is, there we are. As you can see in the top of the airbag, there's a cover right here that covers your air valve. We're going to be removing that now. Get your pliers, pull that out of there. If I can get it to pull out. There we go. Pull it out of there. Next thing to do, they give you little 90s with some kind of, I don't know what color, I'm colorblind, so I'm just going to say it's green. We're going to go with green. Make sure that green threading is all the way in the airbag. As you can tell, we got that in. I went 2 full circles. The next thing to do is turn this on its side. Grab your bracket here. On this bracket, we will be using 2 4-inch carriage bolts. On the driver's side, you use a 4-inch carriage bolt towards the front of the truck, and then you use a 3.5-inch carriage bolt towards the back of the truck, because if not, it interferes with your brake lines. So we will be now putting this on the bottom of this using this bolt right here. Some trucks, you won't be able to use this bolt because it sticks out too far, so they also supply you with these. So you can line it up just like so and hand tighten it for right now. Just about right there. That's good. So next thing to do is put them on the truck. As you can see, I have now got the driver's airbag pushed in there. The next thing I have to do is take one of these lock nuts with one of these big washers and put it on top of this bolt right here. Tighten it down, and then do the exact same to the other side using this bolt. Now that we have this bolt up here tightened down, same with the other side, we are now going to be installing this bell clamp. Sorry, I'm really cramped under here. I can't really show y'all. But it's going to go around the leaf spring back here and through this hole on this side. And then there's also a hole on that side that it's going to go through. Now that I got that clamp bolted down, next thing to do is put on the clamp that goes under your axle right here that attaches to the carriage bolts that you put on an installation of your assembling the airbags. I have now got both of the self-locking nuts on the, I'd call it axle holder. I don't really know what you would call it, that black bracket to the right though. I also tighten the bolt on the bottom of that whenever you do the bolt right there. Whenever you do that, you want to make sure your airbag is straight up and down, and you also want to make sure it's not going to be hitting your leaf springs. About a ½ inch they said, which mine's well over ½ inch. And then you also want to put your bolt back in for the brake line. And let me get, sorry, this is going to be kind of hard to see probably, but that bracket right there, with that zip tie, you want to zip tie that emergency brake line up so that it doesn't get smit or pinched by the airbags. So now that we've got everything done there, we're going to start on the passenger side. I've now got both airbags placed on the leaf springs. Next thing to do is run the air lines to them. I'm going to be putting the valve stems inside of my gooseneck ball box up here. I haven't drilled the hole yet. I'm going to drill the hole right against that wall, and then I just figured that'd be the easiest place to be able to fill them up, since I'm going to be hooked up to trailers anyway. The other place that a lot of people like to put them is right here on the bumper, but I don't want to drill a hole right now because in the future I might get a what is it called, a wireless fill-up kit. I just didn't want to put out the money for it right now. So let's start running the wires for this, or the hoses I guess you would call them, yeah, hoses, and get this thing done. I have drilled my holes and inserted my valve stems. I have not put the lock nuts on them yet, but the hole is a 5/16 inch hole, and then you have these little brass nuts that go on them. These valve stems are extremely long, so later on I'll probably get some more washers and make them closer to the side of the thing so no one breaks them off or anything. I'm going to be installing the driver's side air line. I already took it outside, got it cut. I cut it with the X-Acto knife. They said make sure you have a really nice edge on it, or really nice cut on it. Make sure there's no edges or anything. So we are going to run this into this quick connect right here. You run it straight in there just like that. Push it in, make sure it goes all the way in. Give it a little slight tug on the way out. It doesn't want to move, so that's good. Next thing you can do, run it up to your top ones, which I'm going to run into my right one up here. Make sure it goes in. Little tug. That one's good. Okay, let's do the left side, and then we'll put some air in these. So now the book says to fill up to 70 psi's. If I can get my air chuck to work. It says the air's up really fast, so I don't want to over air it up. It's at 30 so far. I can feel the difference. That side over there is for sure higher. I'm going to start on this one. Probably about 40. Never mind, that's 20. I'll get back to y'all after I get it at 70. The reason why we're doing this is to check for any leaks. So I'm going to grab my soap and water and go down there and spray all the connections. I just finished going under there and checking for any air bubbles with my soap and water, which is right there. I sprayed everything, no bubbles came out, so we are looking good. If you can tell, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that is a ton higher. That's a good 4 inches, 5 inches higher than it was before, and I only filled them up to like 40 psi. Didn't want to go to 70 just in case something bad happened or anything. But I'm going to air these back down to 10 psi, and I'll probably come back in a couple days and give you all a review of what I think of them after I've drove some places. I've drove about 500 miles so far with the airbags. I had them at 10 psi's, which is what I started off with.
It was pretty good. My bed was still a little squatted, so I changed them to 30 the next time. My opinion, it was a little more rough. I don't know if it was just because I was driving down a dirt road and in the pasture, or if it just had too much air in it for what I was doing. So after that, I dropped it down to 20, and that's why I have it at right now. And 20 is where I'm most likely going to keep it whenever I'm just driving without a trailer or anything. I can fill up better. I have that tube right there. Of course, you have a fill-up tube, but whenever I fill up, the bed's sitting high enough where the tube has a slant now, so I can fill up without the gas pump clicking on me or anything like that. The bags, they're great, 100%. Don't regret buying them. They're so good. The thing I did not install was this T, and the reason why I did not install this T, which you can run your 2 airbags to a T and then run it out the same valve stem. The reason why I didn't do that is because if I load one side with, like, let's say feed, which I have sitting over here, I could load one side with feed, and then that air from this airbag is just going to shoot across the other airbag, and it's just not going to work as well as running 2 valve stems separately to each airbag. So just keep that in mind if you decide to put airbags on your truck. You can go this way, but I just recommend running 2 of them. It's not much harder. It's actually pretty easy to do it. At least in my application it was. But thank y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.